Kevin. Kevin, are you listening? Oh. Sorry about that. Must have spaced out a bit. Are you alright? It's understandable, really. After all that's happened, it's no surprise you're feeling tired. Maybe you should rest up some before we keep going. Nah, don't worry about me. Anyway, we were about to start going over all the information we've gathered so far, right? Yes, but... He may not be our ally, but our encounter with that Schwarzritter turned out to be quite illuminating. We finally have the name of this strange place we've found ourselves in, for one. That's right, he called it Phantasma, right? Yep, interesting name it's got. Not sure where it came from, though. As far as I know, it's nothing from the church's scripts. I've never heard it before either. Then there's the existence of his lord. Well, judging by how that guy spoke of them, that must be the big boss around here. They seem to know a whole lot about us, too. Incidentally, there was one thing that knight mentioned which made me curious. It mentioned you having a sister, Reese. Oh my, I didn't mean to pry into your personal affairs. Should I not have asked? Nah, I don't blame you for being curious. As he said, I did indeed have a sister. Her name was Rufina. She was one of the Grancel, just like I am now. Reese. I take it that your use of the past tense means... Yes, she fell in the line of duty during a mission. Roughly 5 years ago, to be precise. I see. But in that case, how could that man possibly know so much about her skills? I wish I knew. I don't really know much about the work she did. What about you, Kevin? Sorry, I can't think of how she might have met him either. Still, she was known for being one skilled knight, and not just in terms of strength in battle, her judgment and negotiation abilities were both top class too. The details of her missions are as much a mystery to me as they are for Reese, but it's not a stretch to think she could have met him during one of them, I suppose. With little more than conjecture to go off of, I suppose the matter will have to remain unsolved for now. My apologies, I should never have asked. All I did was bring up painful memories for the two of you. Don't sweat it. We still learn something out of this, and that's that our enemies are keeping a pretty close eye on what we do here. We're gonna need to be careful every step of the way. So it seems. Shall we get back to our ever-cautious trek then? We'll have to go back to where we met that guy and keep going from there, right? Yeah, I saw another warp at the top of the stairs. Thankfully, the cube can get us back there in no time flat once we're up for it. And so, welcome back to the Hermit's Garden after defeating that first devil and completing Chapter 1. And let me just say as well, the music that played during that whole flashback sequence for Kevin, that was called Cradle Where Feelings Rest, and it's amazing. It's just such a beautiful song, I love that. I decided to not talk over that just to preserve the atmosphere of the music there. But anyway, there's actually nothing new to buy at the shop here, but I may want to see if there's any ingredients I can get. We now have the recipe for extra spicy fries, which only requires 3 ingredients, all of which we can buy. In fact, it's most likely vastly cheaper than any healing item that heals the same amount. Also, if you look at the screen here, I don't think we got to see this last time, you can see what recipes each ingredient is used in. So we need one of those for easy paella. We need 1 fresh egg for egg salad sandwich. I like to buy fresh eggs wherever I can. They're an ingredient in a lot of recipes. As are potatoes and salt. Also, maple sugar. You'll need that for a lot of dishes too. In fact, I can actually top myself off on salt right now. Olive oil's a little bit more expensive though. Oh yeah, fresh herbs are also used in a lot of recipes. Might want to grab some of those. Once I get enough money, I'm pretty much just gonna 99 my inventory of every ingredient that I can. Apart from acerbic tomato, maybe, because that's pretty expensive. But before we leave the Hermit's Garden, we actually want to do something that's a little bit not that obvious. Checking out the bookshelves where we first came in. See how there's a glint over here? If we examine this, all of Carnelia is on the bookshelf. So if you missed any of the Carnelia novels in either Sky FC or SC, then you can read them here. And you don't need to, like, read through the whole thing, but there is an achievement for reading every book in the game, so I would recommend just opening up every book and just flicking through it, because that will count as reading it for the achievement. Okay, I read all of that, and in fact, it's probably a good time to read that if you never read it before, because we now know the person that it's based on. The totally exaggerated and not at all true adventures of Ein Selnitz. But yeah, it's also a heavily dramatized and fictional account, but the real deeds she does are even more ridiculous than the fiction. So, in order to progress, we need to head up here and find this warp point. This is the exit you mentioned before, right, Father? Or entrance, perhaps. It's just like that magic circle at the base. Do you think this will take us somewhere completely new? Most likely. It's the only other route I've seen, so we're just gonna have to see where it takes us. That's a statue of a white falcon. Wait, isn't this? This is the southern block of Grancel. Thank goodness, we're finally out of there. What's up with you, Reese? You look like you've seen a ghost. Well, I can't pretend to be all that familiar with Grancel, but that's not its main gate, is it? What? Crap. What? No, it isn't. Pretty sure Grancel doesn't usually have knights roaming the streets and magical barriers everywhere either. Welcome to the otherworldly capital. I love the way that the chapter title card doesn't show up until you, actually enter the next plane for the first time. I think that's really cool. Those soldiers aren't the Royal Army. What has happened here? What happened to the capital while I was away? Man, I did not see this coming when we stepped out of that warp. Either something happened here while we were stuck inside that place, or Phantasma is now able to influence the world outside. Ugh, I apologize, but I cannot stand here any longer. I need to go check on Grancel Castle. I am concerned for the city's citizens, but above all, I fear for the safety of Her Majesty and the Princess. I don't blame you, but we're coming with. Strong as you are, going alone isn't smart. But panicking is the worst thing you can do right now. Extraordinary situations like these are when caution and careful thinking are your most valued allies. You're quite right, of course. I understand. Then castle it is. We should try and investigate the city on our way there too. Keep your eyes peeled though, the fiends here look like they're not playing around. Understood. Right. So, we are now in the south block of Grancel for some reason. And if we use that, we'll warp back, and we can't do anything at all with this gate. And this ice cream stand is unattended, so no infinite mirror for us. But this thing right here, you want to activate this. This means that you'll be able to warp to the second plane whenever you want to. You can also heal here, but shopping here is also important because they now sell better weapons and armor. However, I would recommend not buying a weapon for Julia just yet. The Parabola Cannon is actually very tempting, but what's better than the new equipment is if we go into Synthesized Quartz, We already have access to level 2 quartz, and you should really get some. Especially Attack 2. Attack 2 is good in this game, not only for physical attackers, but also for casters. So I'm going to take as many of those as I can carry. We can't get Mine 2, unfortunately. But we can get Action 2. Its price is very steep, but it's worth it. No EP Cut 2 or EP 2, though, unfortunately. We can get Move 2. I don't know if that's really going to make a huge difference at this point. We can also get Blind, so that's a status ailment quartz. You can only have one installed in an orbment at a time, but it gives you, basically it makes all of your normal attacks, and I believe also crafts, have a small chance of inflicting a status ailment. I'll take one of those sleeps. We can also get Poison and Mute. Poison is actually kind of effective in this game, as you can tell by its quartz costing 100 Seepith as opposed to the other status quartz, because it deals percentage-based damage, and enemies typically have much higher HP than you do. I'll take 2 Defense 2s as well. Later on, you definitely want as many of these as you can get, because that'll give people access to things like Earth Guard and Earth Wall. Earth Wall especially. I suppose I can grab Evade too. Okay, so with that, I believe it's time to mess around with my orbments a little bit. Well, firstly, Action 2 is going on Kevin, because I just really, really want my main caster to, you know, be casting better. And now, Defense 2 and Attack 2. So, again, like, normally this would be kind of weird because I would like to save these for my physical attackers. However, Attack 2 gives Flare Arrow. Well, any combination of 3 fire elements will give you Flare Arrow. And Flare Arrow is actually, along with Earth Lance, which I don't have right now, is actually the most efficient single target damage for EP and cast time in the game. So that's why I want this on my casters. So I want that on you, and I think Julia will take the third one, because she's, you know, the queen of chain crafts and all. And she can replace her HP 1 with an HP 2. Now, if I put Evade 2 on Reese, she'll get access to Fort for a 25% strength buff, which, since Julia can't buff her own strength with attack orders, that's probably going on her most of the time. Also, Firebolt EX, which I don't find that great, but Aerial is kind of okay AoE at this point. Oh, and Kevin has Crest, which buffs defense. I think this will be the setup I go with for now. The weird thing is that this setup on Reese is actually kind of what I want on Kevin, so I might end up swapping their quartz setups at some point. So let's go ahead and check out all of these places, like the Wingard Orbital Factory, which is very, very empty right now. However, there is a chest here. Grancel doesn't normally have chests. HP 2. 12 of 36. I was wrong earlier. There's only one story with 36 parts, so all of these are from the same story. The place looked less like a shop and more like the newest secret playground for the local children, long abandoned after the passing of its owner. But no, to clarify, it was very much in business. Okay, so nobody home in there. Before we progress though, let's try and fight this thing. As I said earlier, Grimoires pretty much show up everywhere, but the Iron Knights are new. They are weak to time, which is a little unfortunate, seeing as that forces a bit of delay, but how many of you can I hit with Arc Fence? I can hit 2 of you. Yeah, the Iron Knights are a lot tankier, so you usually need to use arts against them. In fact, getting Hellgate at this point is quite effective. I'll have to check my, I almost said Bracer Book, but it's actually, it's actually, the Growlsritter Notebook. Now, I just realized I've never actually shown Julia's S-Craft before. It does look pretty cool, but then again, most S-Crafts do.
Justice must always prevail.
More level ups. I guess those guys are skeletons because they drop juicy bones. Now, you also want to check out the Fisherman's Guild, because there may not be any chests in here, but there is this. Bring to me the girl who loves to fish, only then shall pain and torture open. Okay, so we at least have that registered as a warp point now. Sundoor 2. Oh, Sundoor 2. I'm gonna have to do that on camera at some point, and I'm really not looking forward to that at all. I can actually feel tears starting to come out of my eyes. That's how bad Sundoor 2 is. Trust me, you'll all see once we get there. I don't think anyone's here. I had faintly hoped there would be, but I should have known that wouldn't be the case. The guild's assistance would have been immensely helpful in a situation like this, too. I'll go and have a look at the telephone. Maybe we'll be able to contact a branch somewhere else and ask them for help. Thanks, Tita. Well, I mean, unless there's an orbital shutdown phenomenon everywhere. It's no use. The phone's technically working, but I can't actually get through to anywhere. Have you tried contacting headquarters at Leyston Fortress? Oh, no. No good, I can't get through to them either. I see. I imagine you would get the same result no matter where you tried to call. Probably, yeah. Well, it's not ideal, but it looks like we're on our own. Let's see if there are any side quests to accept. Nope, doesn't look like it. Nothing on this floor of the, guild house, but there is a moon door here. Bring to me the dancer with silver locks. Only then shall the door open. If you're familiar with the cast of the Sky Games, there's only one person that could be, but, we actually won't be able to use that door for a little while longer. Now let's just cross the street here. Careful not to run too much, or you might end up getting ambushed by enemies, and the Iron Knights do hit very hard. Here we can check out the back room of the weapon shop, or at least what used to be the weapon shop, and get Akashic Hearts. 17 of 36. Good riddance, the son coldly muttered as he turned the key to lock the shop. This would be the last time he would be forced to ever step inside. I'll bet I can fetch a pretty mirror for his tools at the market. Well, that's a little bit confusing out of context, but the Akashic Heart. Not only is this a much stronger sword than the one we could buy at the shop, it also gives plus 25 ATS and also a little bit of agility. That ATS boost means that the Akashic Heart actually stays relevant for quite a while, even after its physical damage gets outclassed. There aren't a lot of weapons that boost ATS in this game, and the few that do, you really want to take them when you can get them. Okay then. I have not used Reese's S-Craft yet, but I'm saving that for a little while. Oh great, we have a... they have a rush turn coming up. I kind of want to... No, actually, wait. I'll have Tita attack first and then S-Break. Just for that little bit of extra chip damage. Oh, and with that, she gets to go again immediately afterwards. Doesn't quite take them all out, however, I can't chaincraft, and I can't smoke cannon either, but, they're all just barely hanging on. Okay, yeah, at a time like this, I could really use, Hellgate. Yeah, I did say that I would check my notebook to see if I could use that right now. Yeah, so this is actually what I was talking about earlier in the Bennu fight. This thing says that it takes normal damage from Earth, but it does seem to have a pretty immense passive resistance to everything that is in the higher elements. It's really weird how the game doesn't do much of a good job vindicating that, but there are some enemies in this game that are like that. Like, I'm not really sure exactly how it works, but they sometimes just have this weird passive resistance to, anything that is not the higher elements, which are time, space, and mirage. Now, inside this house, we have insulating tape. Wait, Father, I haven't finished my confession yet! I wonder what sins a chest could have committed. Now, if we try to go through here, we can't, but we can get inside the bar, in air quotes. I love that, how it's just like, Yeah, inverted commas, I don't know why. Fried Phoenix, that's a new food item. 9 out of 36. The story truly begins neither with Genevieve nor with Jubilee, but with the shop in the letter. Located in Bose, cramped between two of the most popular shops in the block, was a tiny, tiny building. Maybe one day I'll actually put all of those together and make sense of them. But yes, it is still set in Zemuria, Bose being a location from, in Laberle. And, okay, I think there's actually another house that I haven't checked yet. Smelling salts? Sorry, but the magic palm that restocks all the chests hasn't come here yet. Try again in another game. You know, this may actually... Oh, wait, no, we've already been here. That's the arms and guards. Spoiler alert, but as of the series as it currently stands, this might be the last game that we actually visit Grancel in, so that's kind of depressing. Yeah, you see how much damage Julia is doing to these things with basic attacks now? That is the power of having a better weapon. Okay, Hellgate is, 6 time and 3 space and Mirage. I don't think I can get that yet. But if we proceed onwards... I should probably go back to the Hermit's Garden soon, and, because I think the spring should have been, back. I didn't use it before entering this plane, because we only fought, because that was a boss fight, we technically only fought one enemy, which usually isn't enough to restock the spring. And that's just a bunch of Seepeth. If you stare into this chest and say, Ouroboros 5 times, Blue Blunk will visit you this night. Yeah, I don't particularly want that right now. He would torment us with scavenger hunts and side quests. Like, a chapter after we got a scavenger hunt, we get another Blue Blunk scavenger hunt. I guess I can get the recipe for Fried Phoenix in my log. This one's actually kind of nice because it boosts strength. The problem is that it requires monster ingredients, which are a little, difficult to get. Also, this is a Vanish turn. It does that. So... if this thing dies, if the last enemy that is not vanished on the field dies and all the rest is still vanished, then you count as winning the battle, but the vanished enemies don't give experience. So generally I prefer to avoid vanished turns if it looks like they'll end the battle, because that is kind of frustrating, missing out on that much experience. You gaze deeply into the empty chest, hoping for enlightenments. You feel hungry. That sounds a little like Reese, honestly. Some people have said that they like the fact that, like, Reese's sort of food obsession, it's not hugely overbearing. It's not like her entire character revolves around her or anything. And this kind of bugs me. This is a door texture, but you can't go through it. White bracelet. Inside the chest is an ancient note hinting at the location of the 8th Septarian. It crumbles to dust before you can read it. The Septarians are a big plot point in these games that Ouroboros is trying to get. I mean, there's probably is going to be an 8th Septarian, honestly. Another 500 mirror. 1 of 36. You remember reading the teaser in Trails in the Sky 2nd chapter for Trails in the Chest, but you didn't feel like reading it then. Yet suddenly, you have a craving for more Trails in the Chest. Yeah, this is actually Trails in the Chest, something the chess quotes promised back in SC. The localizers have a lot of fun with these. It's due to all of the chess quotes being stored in their own specific spots, rather than just sharing a generic message. Oh great. I'm gonna have to sing for this, aren't I? 1 of 24. La la la. Hideko hummed, barely audible over the sound of the vacuum. Suddenly, ding-dong went the doorbell. My, she explained. Who could that be? Now, hopefully that isn't a murder mystery, because if it's a murder mystery and you answer the door like that, then you usually get murdered.
Goddess, my thanks to thee.
Every single battle I get into, I'm always just terrified that I'm going to accidentally hit the flee button and have to reload a save. At least it's going to mean that I'll be kept at a decently good level. Nothing in here. Yeah, this is the house where, that interesting NPC subplot went on in I think it was an SC, because, yeah, you're only... Oh, hi there, you noticed me. This may be a horrible mistake, but let's see how much damage we do strength buff with a full party chaincraft against these guys.
I am ready.
At first I thought that I had made a horrible mistake, but then the 1500s kicked in.
Not bad.
Okay, so we can go through here, but yeah, that's blocked, as I thought. So the path to the castle is just north, but before you go there, I would recommend going back to the garden and restoring CP and healing. And I guess now I can show off the fact that we can, that anything that's in a later stone monument, you can buy back at the garden. Houndbow actually has 1 extra range over his previous weapon, which is cool. Here is the entrance to Grancel Castle. And here is a star door. We found all 3 types of doors in one area. Bring to me the guardian of the royal family and the blade that serves the imperial house. Only then shall the door open. We have one of those requirements, but not the other. This, however, is a much more convenient warp point for Grancel than the first one, I find, so it's good to grab that one. And right there, we do have a mini-boss that has a little bit of warning before it, so make sure you're prepared before stepping forward. A large armored soldier is blocking the path to the castle. Attempt to defeat it? Let's go! Oh, I'll just barely miss the 10% strength up. In this battle, I wanted to demonstrate, well, this.
Upon the golden wings of battle.
That is, in my opinion, one of the most visually impressive S-crafts, even better than most things in SC. It's kind of hard to believe this was originally a PSP game when you see that. I mean, admittedly, they are using, I think, the upscale textures from the PS3 version for that, but it's just like, that's pretty insane. I actually used that a few years ago as a test video for the Sky games, just because it's so visually impressive. Okay, how much health does you have left? You get the idea. Quite a bit, yeah. The Iron Kaiser is actually pretty dangerous. It can inflict feint on you and does a lot of damage, especially on Nightmare. On Nightmare, you really don't want to get hit by that thing. It hurts an extreme amount. I know that from experience. And it's also pretty resilient to both physical attacks and arts. It decided not to attack for some reason, though. And we get to hear this music again, which is great. See, now you know this is basically the mini-boss theme. Essentially, everything in the prologue counted as a mini-boss. Even Gilbert, because he doesn't even get regular boss status, he's that pathetic. I still think the intro sounds like Welcome to the Jungle. Okay, can I actually take it out? Not quite. I haven't even used Lance and Ritter yet. It's kind of like, meh. There are a lot of crafts in this game that are basically just the same attack power as a normal attack, just with a slightly different effect. Or rather, you know, an effect attached to them. So that mini-boss is extremely easy if you know it's coming, and just go back to the garden, restore your CP, and S-break with everyone. I wanted to limit myself to just one S-break, just to make it not look like a complete joke. But with that, the path to the western block of Grancel is open. Except this doesn't exactly look healthy for the castle. No. What's this magical symbol for? I believe it's locked by a spiritual power of some kind. We're unlikely to be able to force our way through as long as it remains active, I'm afraid. That's certainly how it seems, which means that we're going to need to find some way to remove it, or we won't be able to get inside. Most likely, yeah. You alright with leaving the castle until later then? I fear we have little choice. I can only hope that Adios keeps everyone inside safe until we can return. Shall we resume our search of the city in the meantime? That works. Hopefully we can find some way of getting inside while we're making the rounds. And with our ultimate goal in mind, I'll see you next time as we head into the eastern block of Grancel. See you then.